Untitled Chapter, and we're back with another one of these deck profiles, another in-depth one, because we already did the quick one, because it's quicker and it drains my energy less, so we'll do this. Anyway, so this is a deck profile for people who are starting out with the deck, people who just want an in-depth explanation about what live twins do, people who, yeah, you're just starting out, you're interested in the deck, maybe you just want to see what the card choices are, maybe how the deck not plays, because I think the video is going to be long enough without doing like a tutorial hand thing. Yeah, just that. Just I'm going to go really in depth on every card, every card choice, every ratio, and I'll explain what all the cards do. If you don't want all that, if you just want a normal deck video, or not a normal deck video, just going over ratios, just going over the number of cards. If you already know how to play the deck and just thinking like, hey, what's some new tech for the ban list? Check out the other video. I'll put in the link down below. But anyway, let's get started. Again, for new players, if you're interested in the deck, I think the deck's really cool. And yeah, let's get started. So, for the main deck, we have 3 Live Twin Lala. Now, this is the best normal summon in your deck. Why is it the best normal summon in your deck? It is the best normal summon in your deck because it can summon out Kill Frost. I'll explain what Kill Frost does when I get to her, but for now, all you need to know is that Lila, when there is no other monster on the field and she is normal or special summoned, you can summon a live twin Kill from your deck, and it includes Kill Frost. Like basically any Kill monster from your deck that isn't the big one. And if your opponent attacks while this card's on the field, they lose 500 life points, which comes up sometimes. And when it does, you're gonna laugh your flipping farts off because it is hilarious. But anyway, yeah, it's really cool. So 3 Live Twin Lila. Then 3 Live Twin Kill. This isn't as good as a normal summon. It still gets out your other Cyberse Lila, which is good. In the older version of the deck, it was just as good because you didn't really want to summon the other Live Twin from the deck. But it's like, it was still a little bit worse because you can summon Frost off of it. But now it's worse because you can't summon Frost. You only really don't summon the special Live Twin off one of the not special Live Twins when you have them in your hand, and you can special summon them out for free. If not, then you're going to be special summoning out from deck just because it gets rid of them and just because they have effects in graveyard, which is sometimes useful, usually all the time useful. But yeah, anyway, this one, the effect it has is when it's normal special summon and there's no other monsters on your side of the field, you can special summon a Lila monster from deck, a Live Twin Lila monster from deck. No, it's just Lila monster from deck. But yeah, you can summon either that Lila or you can summon the Holiday Lila. And then when your opponent attacks while this card's on the field, you gain 500 life points, which matters less than Lila, honestly, because sometimes you just have their life points low enough because of the continuous spell, which I'll get to. But anyway, let's keep going. So then we have Kill Frost. This is the reason why Lila is a better normal summon than Kill. I do prefer Kill in the art department because she looks so cool. I love Frost. Frost is one of my favorite cards. It's why I'm so happy I pulled this Starlight. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty, man. I love it. Anyway, what she does, so she's a level 2. Like all of them are level 2s. Except the big monsters because they're links, and the big main deck monster because reasons. I don't know why they made it a main deck monster. If it were an extra deck monster, it would actually be pretty decent. But it's not. It's in the main deck monster. I don't know why they did that, but anyway. So Kill's effect. You can normal summon, but you're never normal summoning Frost unless you're in like a bad spot. But anyway, if you have a Lila monster on the field, you can special summon her from your hand. You can only do this once per turn. And also, while she's in the graveyard, if you control an evil twin monster and your opponent adds a card, whether it be by drawing or just searching or whatever, outside of the draw phase. I think it's outside of the draw phase. Yeah, from the main deck by card effect, not even outside the draw phase. That's actually better than draw. Not that this is the same card as draw, it's a different thing. But anyway, yeah, so you can draw a card, which gets you into more hand traps. It's basically always free. Like, if they called by your grave your Kill Frost, and they called by your grave the Kill Frost. Like, but that's just stupid, because there's so much other better targets in the deck to call by the grave. But that's what Kill Frost does. That's why it's the better, that's why Lula's the better normal summon, and This crappy card, I don't know why this came in Starlight. I mean, I'm glad it did. It looks amazing, but like, I traded for this one. But anyway, what she does is the same basic thing as Kissikill Frost. She can special summon out herself out if you have the Kissikill. And you can when she's in the graveyard, if you control an evil twin monster and an evil twin monster does battle, you can make your opponent one of your opponent's monster it targets. For some reason, it targets with this effect. I mean, I guess at most effects target, but like you can make them lose attack equal to the difference of attacks, so the life points lost by either player. And yeah, that's why it's not that good. It comes up sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't. And I usually forget it's in the graveyard because it never comes up. But yeah, anyway, so let's go over some strategy with these monsters. So for the normal summon of the the Lilla or the Kissikill, if you have either one, or if you have the chance to search either of these, if you have one of these in like a search card, which you most likely a lot of the time will have, I recommend always summon the one that you have the opposite of. So if like you're summoning the normal summoning the Lilla, it's because you have Kissikill Frost. Or if you have to search something, then search the other one that you don't have in hand. So if you have a Lilla in hand, search the Kissikill Frost. If you have the Kissikill, search the Lilla Treat. Why is this? Because if they imperm, if they ash, if they do anything to stop, if they Veiler, then you're gonna, if you search the other one, it's just gonna be useless because you don't have the other one on the field, right? So I just recommend just always doing that, just because that way you can continue your plays. It's not the extended play, but it's still the main play, which is already pretty good. And you'll most likely have extenders and stuff, so if they ask something, it won't really matter. But yeah, anyway, that's just my recommendation with everything. Just a little quick tip. Then we play one of Evil Twins, Kissikill, and La. You play this because you can send it off of the Trouble Sunny to get a free send. So I'll explain that when I get to Trouble Sunny. But this is basically in there for her. You hardly ever summon her, and if you do, you're a legend, man. Why would if you're BMing to the point where you're summoning this thing, then you're way ahead, because there's no reason why you should get rid of the material for this, which is by so the summoning condition for this is you have to tribute 2 link monsters. So it's meant to be tributing the 2 evil twin links. But why you would do that when you can go into Trouble Sunny, I have no idea. I mean, even if you're trying to go for game, Trouble Sunny can attack and then switch into the other 2. But I don't know. I don't know why you'd summon this, but this is basically just in for the free send. And it does come up sometimes. You can send it from hand, deck, or field, so it's fine if you draw it. Or you could just use it to discard Father and like maybe make a Link Karibo in one of the twins and tribute both of them, just get extension by reviving the twin. But anyway, there's some things you can do with this, but like most of the time, it's just there for this end. Anyway, it does have an effect. So when this is summoned, you can, if your opponent controls 3 or more cards, they must send cards to the graveyard until they control 2 cards. So it's like evenly matched, but not really like evenly matched. And it's like you have to summon it out. It can be summoned from the graveyard though, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's go on to the hand traps. There is a little bit of spice that I threw in here just because I really like it in the deck. I think it's really good. But again, if you disagree, please let me know in the comments. I'll get to it in a bit. But for now, we're just going over hand traps because I want to save that for the last of the monsters, you know? So 3 Ash Blossom. I believe that the reason I'm playing 3 of this and only 2 of most of the other hand traps is because I think Ash Blossom is really, I mean, Ash Blossom is usually good in every format, but in this specifically because of Branded Fusion, I think that it's going to be a very vital card. If you stop the Despia players' Branded Fusion, then they have to sort of rely on other things, and it kind of sucks for them. They're basically just playing Despia before the branded stuff, which is okay, but it's not nearly as powerful. I don't think. I might be wrong. I'm not the best player. These are just my opinions. Like, you can think whatever you want to think, and like if you do, please discuss in the comments, because I'd like to know, and because I like Yu-Gi-Oh! And I like learning things, and getting better at the game is always something that I want to do. So if you think something different, then please let me know so we can discuss in the comments. Anyway, Ash Blossom. She's good because she can stop any effect that adds a card from deck to hand, special summons from the deck, or sends a card from the deck to the graveyard. So the reason why I think this is so good is because what's it called? A branded fusion is a fusion spell that sends cards from your deck to the graveyard to fusion summon. So it's fusion summoning from the deck. And Ash Blossom can stop that because it's sending cards from deck to graveyard. So it can negate the effect. And because it negates the effect and not the activation, they can't use another one in the same turn. So that's really cool. So if they ask your branded fusion, then you're pretty much just like, whatever I got in my hand is what I got. And that's why I think it's so good. I think 3 Ash in the format is really good. I think it's unless if your deck can play it, I think you should over Ogre, because Ash also stops the adventure line, and I'll get to the other hand traps in a bit. So 1 ghost spell. I know some of you are going to be annoyed by the different artworks, but I have some ghost spells in other decks and I didn't feel like changing it. So anyway, ghost spell I think is really good because it stops the branded in red. It stops the fusions. So it stops the branded fusions because a lot of them shuffle or banish from the graveyard. They shuffle cards back into the deck or banish from the graveyard a lot of the time. And you can stop that with Ghost Spell. And a lot of the time, if you stop their monsters' fusions, they don't have much follow-up. They have hand traps to stop you, but they don't have follow-up in a way to get other fusions, and if they do, they open really well, and you have other hand traps to stop them, right? So Ghost Spell I think is really good. That's why I'm playing. I would, again, if any of these ratios you don't like, if you want to change it up, feel free. Like, this is just my opinion. This is just what I think is good. It's what I found to work for me. But if you play differently, if you want to do something else, then feel free. It's you can choose whatever you want. You do you, man. But anyway, what Ghost Spell does, so just like Ash Blossom, you have to discard Ash Blossom to activate her effect. And just like Ash Blossom, you have to discard this to activate the effect. So if your opponent adds a card from the graveyard to hand deck or the extra deck, you can negate that. Special summon a monster card from the graveyard or banish a card from the graveyard. Now, this doesn't work on cost. Same thing with Ash Blossom. If they send from deck to graveyard at cost, you cannot Ash it. And if same thing, these cards do only work on card effects. They do not work on cost. That's something that you need. Well, I just told you, but if you didn't, then you'd have to learn. And it's just if you don't know what cost is, then man, maybe I should make a Yu-Gi-Oh rules video. I don't know. Or Yu-Gi-Oh like what you need to know, whatever. I don't know. That'd be cool. But anyway, you do that with Ghost Spell. Ghost Spell is really good because it stops all... And the thing about all of these hand traps is they're good against Branded Despia, but they're also really good against every other deck. So, yeah, they're just blanket good cards. So yeah, that's Ghost Spell. Now, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Honestly, if you don't have anyone at your locals, or if you don't want to play the Effect Veiler, I'd take out the Effect Veiler, put in a 3rd Ogre. I play the Effect Veiler because I know there's budget players out there who want to play Veiler because it's cheap. And Veiler hurts this deck just as much as Imperm hurts this deck. So, yeah. That's why I play it, but if you disagree, then play 3 Ogres, because I recommend this specifically because of what I'm going to say now. So, Ogre hits continuous spells, field spells, and cards that need to remain on the field to activate, which are some monster cards, not all of them, but it also gets rid of big monster threats. Now, this card is really handy right now, specifically because Adventure and Flunderies are in the format. I don't know if Flunderies is going to stay in the format, but I think it will. I think it's a good deck. It's a good budget deck as well. So people are going to want to play it. Now, the reason why this hits is because continuous and field spells, to resolve their effects, have to be on the field at resolution. So if they activate their field spell effect and you Ghost Ogre, which I'm going to explain what Ghost Ogre does in a bit, but if you Ghost Ogre, then the card is removed from the field and the effect can no longer resolve because the card is not on the field. Now, if you want a more in-depth explanation about that, I'm probably not the best person to say things, so you probably want to look up some Judge People videos that can explain rulings like really easily and really like whatever. But if you know that, then great. And if that's enough explanation for you, then great. But Ghost Ogre is really good specifically because Flunderies has an insane field spell that lets them do basically everything they want to do. And the adventure package has a key part in their adventure combo that searches out all of their stuff, and that is the Fateful Adventure. If you Ghost Ogre the Fateful Adventure, they basically can't do the adventure line unless they already have it in their hand, which at that point it's like they had it in their hand. And you can Ghost Ogre the Fateful Adventure, and they only end with a 2,000 attack token on the field, which they usually put in defense. So it's it's really good. I would play three instead. If you want to take out the Effect Veiler, but that's just me. I play two because I'd rather play the Effect Veiler just as defense. I'm more of a defensive player most of the time. Like, I like to build my deck defensively rather than offensively, which is like just my way of building decks. But yeah. Anyway, let's go over Ghost Ogre effect. When a monster on the field activates its effect, or when a spell or trap card that is already face up on the field activates its effect, so continuous and field spell cards, you can send that card from hand to the graveyard and destroy that card on the field. So it doesn't do. Usually, Ghost Ogre isn't that good of a hand trap all the time, but specifically now because continuous spells and field spells are so big in the format, it's actually really good. So, yeah. Then one Effect Veiler specifically, because Effect Veiler is really good against this deck, just like Imperm, and you can cross out the Effect Veiler. So what Effect Veiler does is during your opponent's main phase, just your opponent's main phase, you can send this card from hand to the graveyard, and it has to go to the graveyard. So if you're under Macrocosmos or whatever, then you cannot do this. You can negate your opponent's your monster's effect. Your opponent's monster, target one of your opponent's monsters, negate its effects until the end of the turn. Gosh, I don't know why that was so hard, but yeah, that's what Effect Veiler does. I think, again, if you're going to take any hand trap out and add something else, take that one out, because that one's not necessary. That was not completely necessary over the other hand traps. One Nibiru, the Primal Being. This is in for crossout specifically because it kills your deck. This deck cannot put any negates out on the field turn one. Maybe it can. Maybe there's some crazy combo that I'm not aware of that can put out some negates out there, but so far I don't think there is any. So Nibiru kills this deck, and people at my locals all main deck Nibiru because they know I play decks that lose to Nibiru. I play Heroes and Live Twins, of course I lose to Nibiru. But in regionals, I don't think people are going to main deck this, but for the odd person that does, I think it's worth running. And also, you get to play Nibiru. If you draw into it, you have Nibiru in hand. That's not bad. But anyway, let's go over what Nibiru does. So during the main phase, if your opponent normal summons or special summons 5 or more times, so minimum of 5, as a quick effect, you contribute every monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card to your side of the field, and then, if this card is special summoned, you have to summon a token with the combined attack and defense of all the original attack and defense of monsters that were sent to the graveyard with this effect. So you can only activate this once per turn. The reason it kills you is because you summon a lot in this deck. You summon way more than 5 times. Well, not way more than 5 times, but like more than 5 times. And always, unless you're just going for Zeus and then passing, which 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 summons then. So you're like just barely under. But yeah, anyway, that's why we play Nibiru. It's just really good. Now, for the spice. I am actually playing 2 copies of Illusion of Chaos and 2 copies of Magician's Souls. Now, why am I playing these cards in this deck, you might ask? Well, I'm playing this because not only does it get cards that you don't want in your hand, say you open Crossout, but you have the Nibiru in hand, you can Illusion of Chaos, I'll explain what they do, but you can put Nibiru back into your deck so to make it so you can cross out the Nibiru. Or if there's something that you know your opponent has, and like same thing, like you can just put it back, or you can put this card back just to search souls. And I'll probably explain the effects now just because like you guys know what I'm talking about. So with Illusion of Chaos, you can ritual summon this card. No, I don't want that one. We don't care about that. So when you can reveal this card and to add to your hand 1 Dark Magician or 1 non-ritual monster that mentions it, which is like basically every Dark Magician. This card's insane in Dark Magician. But from your deck to your hand, then place 1 card on the top of your deck. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can that doesn't care. The effect, basically it just searches souls and puts itself back in the deck as material for souls. Now, what does souls do? So souls, you can send up to 2 spells and traps while it's on the field. You can send up to 2 spells and traps from your hand field or a hand or a field to the graveyard to draw that many cards. If this card is in your hand, you can send from your deck to the graveyard one level 6 or higher. Illusion of Chaos is level 6 or higher. Spellcaster type monster to special summon this card or special summon a Dark Magician from deck. But usually you're special summoning this card. Now, why is this so insane? Well, let's see why. Let's say you start your hand off with one, let's say just one Live Twin Lila and this thing, which I'll explain what it does in a bit, and a Magician's Souls or an Illusion of Chaos. Either one is interchangeable. But what can you do with this? So with this, you can make the Dagda play. With this, you can go into Zeus and then go into a Live Twin play. With this, you can basically do a lot of things, and it's really good. The reason why it's so good is because this one summons out the other one, then you can activate this to search another thing, or do it the other way around, whatever, bait out the ash with this, and then you can special summon souls, and if you can send this to the graveyard to draw a card, and if you have any extra spells and traps in your hand that you don't want, then you can send those too. But anyway, this is really good just as an extender. It's really insane. And just for drawing cards that you don't need. Because, let's be honest, this card's good on the field, but it's not going to be game deciding unless your opponent's summoning like 20 times in one turn, which is sometimes happens, but not always. But that's why I play those. I think it's really good. I think just the situations where that card comes in handy is actually surprising. So a lot of the times in this deck, you're going to have a hand where you have two of the same spells, or like maybe the searcher spell, or you maybe a spell that you don't need, or whatever. But anyway, let me start over. So you can draw cards off of those cards by sending them to the graveyard, which you probably won't need because it's just a lot of the time it isn't necessary to have that many starters in your hand, and you'd be better off drawing hand traps. And then on top of that, just one of the Live Twins and the Souls gets you a Dag to play if you have any of the Live Twin spells in hand, because Lila summons out Kiss-a-Kill or the other way around. Then you can special summon Souls. Then you go with, if you're turn 1, you go with Kiss-a-Kill or Souls. If turn 2, you go with Lila or Souls. But you go Lila, Kiss-a-Kill and Souls into Dagda, and then activate one of the spells, trigger Dagda's effect, and then use those monsters to go into the the Link monster, which is really good. It's a really good extender for the deck. It's just really good. It gets you into Dagda. It gets you into all your Link plays. If it's late in the game and you just have one of the holiday twins, you can summon the twin out, summon the souls out, and go into your normal plays. It does so much for the deck, and I wish more people were playing it, but hopefully the people who watch this video will be like, hey, I want to try that out because it's cool. And also Dark Magician cards and Live Twins. That's cool. Also, I have the Dark Magician Girl Kiss-a-Kill, because I like Kiss-a-Kill more than Lila. But anyway, let's do this. Then the last monster card in the deck is one Artifact Scythe. Now, why am I playing Scythe? So Scythe is cancer. It's true, but I think that this deck can play Scythe when very few decks can in the format now. I don't believe that Despia branded can play it. I don't believe that there aren't very many Link decks now. When it comes to Splight, and when that comes out, that'll change. I think this won't be as good, but actually that's not true. It'll still be great. You can just call Xyz and it'll be whatever. But Live Twins is one of the few decks that can inherently play Dagda and still pop the Scythe on the turn because it without DPE, without it being consistent. I think that's great. I think that we should, Live Twins isn't the best deck. It's very weak to interruption a lot of the time if you don't open the right cards. And especially during your opponent's turn, if you use the Trouble Sunny and they Ghost Spell or Called by the Grave, then your turn is just over. But if you have another way, maybe whatever, just you don't go into whatever and you pop the Scythe, then you basically win the game. And that's something that you'd like. It sucks, yeah, because it's a horrible card design, but if you can play it, then why not play it? And if, like, again, this is a competitive build of the deck, and sometimes to be competitive, you gotta be a butthole. So that's why we play Scythe. Anyway, let's read what Scythe does. So, you can set this card from your hand to field, spell, trap card, zone, like that. But when this card is destroyed, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, and then activate the effect that your opponent can no longer summon from the extra deck for this turn. Now, why is that crappy? Why is that annoying? Because every deck uses the extra deck except Flunderies, because Flunderies is Flunderies, man. Just birdies do different. But Scythe is stupid. It's a stupid card. I don't know why it didn't get banned. I guess because DPE is... Actually, people are still going to be playing DPE with Dagdat too. With Fusion Destiny too. I think a lot of people are still going to do it. And if they don't, then I don't know why, because it's not that big a deal. But, anyway, next, let's go on to the spells. So, 3 Live Twin Stunning Snitch. Now, this is going to be basically your starter and extender. If you have a starter and you have this card, that means you have an extender. If you have a extender and you have this card, that means you have a starter. Now, why is that? Because it is a Rhoda for the archetype. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically it searches, like, any card in the archetype. So, when this card is activated, you can add 1 Live Twin monster from your deck to your hand. And because all the Holiday Live Twins are still Live Twin monsters, you can add all of them. And that's when this card is activated. Then it stays on the field and has this effect. If you control an Evil Twin monster, every time your opponent normal or special summons a monster, they take 200 damage and you gain 200 damage. Now, I'd argue that just drawing the extra card is better, but you can keep this on the field if you have 2, just send another one. If you have a card in your hand that you don't want to use or that you think isn't going to be good, say like your opponent plays something that locks you out of the graveyard or like banishes all your cards, and you can't use droplets, so why not just send that to and draw a card. And then, like, you get the burn damage, and it's pretty cool. It's funny. It's funny as hell. But, and it's also hard to keep track of in real life, because every time they summon, you gotta be like, oh, plus 200, minus 200. But it's still really cool. I think this card is insane, and the artwork's insane, too. So, that's pretty cool. Then, 2 Live Twin Home. I'm not playing, 3 of this because any of your Live Twin spells can trigger Dagda, and because of the Souls package, you can make Dagda and then trigger any of the spells to add a card from your hand, add an extender, and then go off into other stuff. Or you can just like do this. But honestly, I think that locking you out of the Live Twin summon, like if this is your only card in your hand that you can use, it's the only card in your hand you can use. But I think it's good. It's good at extending, and it's good for the Zeus play, but I think that the other cards are better. I think playing more hand traps is better. I think playing the Souls package is better. So, Live Twin Home. Again, you can, I recommend, if you don't want to play the Souls package, it is 4 cards, so I recommend you put this to 3, put this to 3, put Droplets at 3, and put, Ogre to 3, and then that's the deck. But, if you do want to play the Souls package and try it out, this is the build I recommend. But yeah, that's what the card does. So what the importance of this card is, basically it's a cool thing that I forgot to mention. So like to get into that, I'll explain this. So a cool thing that I forgot to mention about the Live Twins is that a lot of people think that if they get rid of the Live Twin, say by banishing it and or like sending it to the graveyard or whatever, the banded deck has a card that like non-targeting banishes. So you activate this effect, they activate effect to banish. It's like, oh, you can only get this card, you can't summon the other one. Well, that's not true, because this card has the same effect, and there's no cards on the field anymore, so you can summon the other, like another Live Twin Lila from your deck. So if you normal summon this, they banish it, you special summon Kiss a Kill activates your effect, special summon another Lila from deck. Honestly, if they do banish like the Kiss a Kill or the Lila, then that's better, because then you can get the Holiday one out of your deck, and it's just better for you. And a lot of people won't know this interaction, so they'll do it. Now, why is this important for our purposes? Now, Home can do the same thing, basically. So if you start your combo with whatever, and then they clear your board, say, with Torrential Tribute before you can go into the links, and then it's like, okay, that's fine, I'll just Live Twin Home, summon the other one summons the other one, and you can do your whole combo anyway. Or if they interrupt you, say you have Kiss-a-Kills on the field but no Lillas, and you have no way of getting them into graveyard, well, you can life twin home a Lilla on the field and then go into your combo. Or if you have, say, the Souls and a Kiss-a-Kill and no Lilla, again, life twin home into the thing. It's a good card, but it locks you into live twins for the rest of the play. So if you're going second, and maybe that's why they cleared your board, then you can't really OTK, whereas you could with the other stuff, which I think is important. But again, that's just me. This is just my way of building the deck. You don't have to agree. You don't have to do whatever. But if you don't, then please let me know in the comments. I would love to discuss. Yeah. Anyway, 2 droplet. I would play 3, but this is a 40 card deck. I do play like 42 cards and play another droplet, and another what's it called? Another Ghost Ogre. But for those of you who don't want to play more than 40 cards, that's fine. This is the 40 card build. 2 droplet. Droplet is insane in this deck for the same reason that if they banish your live twin and do funky stuff, you can normal summon one of the twins. Whatever. You can normal summon one of the twins. Say they negate their effect because they think, oh, they don't have any extenders in hand. It's whatever. Then you can activate droplets, tribute this one, the effect, negate the effect of the thing that was negating, then summon the other one, activate that effect to summon the other one, and it's like basically free. Or if it's during your opponent's turn, then you can send one of the evil twins and they both summon each other out. So like I'll explain that in a bit, but you can negate that way. And I think it's really good. It's insane in this deck. Better in this deck than most decks just because of that interaction. 2 secret pass. Oh, I forgot to say what droplets did. That's probably important. So, what and I forgot to say what home does. Damn, okay. So, you can discard 1 card, special summon Kiss-a-Kill or 1 little monster from your deck. Also, for the rest of the turn, this card resolves, so it has to resolve. You cannot special summon monsters except evil twin monsters, which a lot of the time doesn't matter, but sometimes it does, and that's why I only play 2. Anyway, droplet. Droplet, what this does is send any number of cards from your hand or field to the graveyard. Choose, not target, that many effect monsters your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, the attack is halved. Also, the effects are negated. In response to this card's activation, your opponent cannot activate card effects with the same type of card that you send. So if you send a trap, they can't activate traps. If you send a spell, they can't activate spells. If you send a monster, they can't activate monster effects. So a lot of the time you are sending a monster effect, and it's negating stuff because droplets is insane. Now, for secret password, the reason I only play 2 of this is because I don't think you need that many more starters in the deck. You have an insane number of starters. Lil is a starter. Kiss-a-Kill is a starter. Home is a starter. Sunny Snitch is a starter. This is a starter. Like, you have insane numbers of starters in the decks, and ways to search them, and ways to draw into them, and it's just ridiculous. So what this card does is you can add 1 live twin or evil twin spell trap from your deck to your hand, and if you control a Kiss-a-Kill monster and a little monster, you can add 1 evil twin monster. So it searches the boss monster, which you don't want to do. You don't ever want to do that. So it's just basically searching a spell trap. Now, the start of the deck, 3 crossout designator. Again, I believe that for live twins, for heroes, this is necessary in the deck. I think in live twins, there's no reason why not to play it. You already play so many hand traps. It's like, this is just like, basically, if you don't want to play effect veilers, you play this. And it's like, it's good because it stops you from getting screwed over by the things that you're going to screw over your opponent with. And this deck is weak to a lot of interruption a lot of the time. Like, if they have 2 or 3 interruptions, it's whatever. 1 interruption, 2 interruptions, yeah. But any more than that, you can't do. And Crossout really handles that, especially with Nibiru. Nibiru is stupid. Yeah, this stops Nibiru, and that's the main reason I play it, because I hate that card. I am a rogue deck player, and Nibiru is the bane of my existence. Anyway, 1 Called by the Grave, because not only can you cross out this, but it, let's go over what crossout does. So, you can declare 1 card name, banish 1 of that declared card from your main deck, and if you do, negate its effects, as well as the activated effects on the field of cards with the same original name until the end of this turn. So, basically, you chain this to a card that they activate, you send the card from your deck to the banish zone, and the effects are negated, and they can't use it that turn. So, it's good for stopping hand traps, it's good for stopping Nibiru, it's good for even in the mirror match, you can cross out your own card, and it's like, damn, what do you do now? Then Called by the Grave, the reason why you cross out this because they can cross out Called by the Grave one of your monsters and then you can't use it and then it's like and it's banished but you can't recur it and it's like so you cross out that, and again it's good for defensive. Now what this does is target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, banishing it if you do until the end of the next turn. Its effects are negated as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of monsters with the same original name. So cross out is just like a better Called by the Grave, or you can debate that it isn't a better Called by the Grave, but I think it is a better Called by the Grave. But anyway, now let's go to the star of the ban list, and one card that I will be playing in every one of my decks because of how busted it is. So for those of you who don't know, there is a card on the ban list right now, which is that one called Mind Control. Mind Control is this card, but worse. So what this card does is you can target one monster your opponent controls. Take control of that. Take control of it until the end phase. Very simple effect, but it has so many applications, especially in a deck like this, which is a link focused deck. Say, for example, you your opponent goes into Unicorn and then like ends their turn there because that's all they can do. You steal the Unicorn, you summon any monster, go into access code, and then blow them out of the water. Banish all your lifelines in deck, especially late game. This card is so stupid. I don't know why it came off the ban list, but like people think it's like, oh, it's Mind Control, it's whatever, it's at 1, it's whatever, but you have no idea how annoying it is to lose to a, like maybe you do because you've been playing like a while, but like for those of you who know how annoying it is to lose to a 1-of. And the thing is, this card has basically no restrictions. The only restriction on it is that you have to target it and it goes back at the end phase. There's no restriction on this card, so you can do whatever the hell you want with that monster. You can use its effects. Say they have an Appaloosa, you steal their Appaloosa, go off with your combo like willy-nilly. Again, it won't work that well in this deck because it'll like summon Lilla, but maybe you summon Lilla, activate her effect because like they can't they were like, you know what, I won't summon that because they might have I won't use that because they might have extenders, and then you use like, then you steal their Appaloosa and then you're like, hey, what do we do? But Change of Heart is such an amazing card. It's so stupid that it came out of the ban list. If they don't put it back on the ban list right away, I'm gonna be very surprised. But again, I'm not the best player, so I might not know the most about all this, but in my opinion, Change of Heart should not have come on the ban list, and it's great that it did because it's one of my favorite cards from when I was little. It's why I have a secret rare. So like, if you don't see, like, not a secret rare. I got this card for like $3 because it was just one of my favorites when I was little, and I thought it was awesome. And now it's worth like 100. But for those of you who aren't playing Change of Heart, even if you're not playing Live Twins, even if it's a going second card, you don't want to be stuck in a game. Again, you can cross out the Change of Heart, which is just insane. Like, if they Change of Heart, you just have a set cross out, you're like, no. And it's like, what, are they going to use another one? No, because it's negated for the turn and it's at 1. So, but it's just so insane. There's just so many applications. Like I said, the Appaloosa play. Say you can link climb into your own stuff using their own link monster. Say they have a card that just stops your plays entirely because of its effect. You just take control of it. For example, I play Heroes. Heroes is my main deck. My board right now usually consists of DPE and Plasma with hand traps or follow up for the next turn, which usually is enough. But say they Change of Heart my Plasma, then I cry because I can't do anything. I can't activate my DPE. He took control of my Plasma, which then he can use to take my monster, attack with it, then link it off into like whatever he wants during main phase 2. What other applications? Yeah, linking it off into your own thing. Say, Sword Soul, I think, is going to be the other big deck of the format. And Sword Soul, it usually ends on Baron de Fleur and Baron de whatever. So you can they usually use up the negate during like whatever, or like just bait out the negate with the flipping Change of Heart. They go into it with your own stuff. Like, yeah, they have a pop on field, but then they don't get their negate, which is the big part of the card. Or if they already used it during their turn, then you just change their card, pop a card on the field, use it for link material. It's crazy. It's so good, and I don't know why it came back, but it is back, and we have to deal with it. Then, to Imperm, the same reason why we play Effect Veiler, and again, this is just better Effect Veiler. yeah, it's a cross-out target, but it's also really good during your turn and during your opponent's turn. You can target one face monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of its turn, and if this card was set before activation on the field after resolution, so it does have to resolve it. If it's negated, it doesn't work. For the rest of this turn, all other set spells or traps in this column are negated. If you control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand. So, basically, if you set it, it stops all spells traps in the column, so it has a lot of applications. Say there's a spell and trap that's really giving you trouble. Say they have Dimensional Fissure, and you're just like, damn, I don't like this. Then you just set the Imperm, wait till next turn, maybe set another card to bait out the Ryza or whatever, because usually they bounce Ryza back to their own hand. Because so they can use it again if they're using Flunderies or whatever, because that's the deck that usually plays Dimensional Fissure. But anyway, you activate the Imperm on the Dimensional Fissure. During your turn, things no longer are banished that go to the graveyard because it's negated, and they usually have an effect monster on the field. Or you just use it for the effect negation, make them not do anything. It's really good. It's a really good card. And yeah. Now, let's go into the extra deck. It's already 40 minutes in, but let's get into this. Now, 3 Evil Twin Kill. This is the better extra deck monster, which is weird because Lilla is the better main deck monster. Now, why is this better? It is because Lilla has technically the more useful effect. Now, this is, like, debatable, but what Kill does is, I'll read it to her. If this card is special summoned, if you control a Lilla monster, you can draw a card. And during the main phase, if you do not control a Lilla monster, quick effect, you can special summon a Lilla monster from your graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck this turn, except for Fiend monsters. And you can only use each effect of Kill once per turn. Now, why is this good? Why is this not better? It's because this one gives you a pop, and you can bring back Lilla, which is usually what you want to do, to pop your opponent's monsters. So you want more of this so you can get more pops instead of more draws. Because, yeah, draws are good, but usually you want to deal with your opponent's cards. And this is actually... You can play 2 of this card specifically because Trouble Sunny is in the format, but when it gets into grind game, you do want that extra pop a lot of the time. That's why I play 3. But, yeah, the lock into Fiend monsters doesn't really matter. Yeah, you can't go into Access Code, but you can go into Unicorn and then go into Trouble Sunny, and that's basically OTK there. So, because you can show... I play Unicorn over Transcode just because I like the shuffle back into the deck more than the easy OTK, because usually you clear your board and then set up the same thing for next turn, and you still have hand traps. You drew more cards. You draw a card basically every turn with this deck, and yeah, you can do 5,500 damage just with the Evil Twin stuff, plus another 20 whatever. It's like they're almost dead, and at that point, if you have any of the Lilla monsters, or the main deck Lilla monster on the field, or if you have the Sunny Snitch, you basically already won the game. So it's like... And if you haven't, then you still have an interruption, whatever hand traps you have in like whatever. So I think that yeah. Anyway, that's why I don't play Transcode, but I'll get into that after. Anyway, Lilla. So this basically has the same effect, except a little bit different. So if this card is special summon and you control a Kill monster, then you can target one card on the field, not just your opponent's field, which is why it triggers Scythe. And destroy it. And during the main phase, if you do not control a Kill monster, you can special summon a Kill monster from your graveyard. Now, something that people don't know about this. These do not target. So if you have 2 of these in the graveyard and you have 1 of these on the field, if they banish one with DD Crow or something, if they called by, then that sucks. If they bell, that sucks. But if they DD Crow, which I think is going to be popular in this format, then you can summon the other one. You can summon one of the little twins and then go into Lilla in your extra deck, and then bring back the Kill to draw a card, go into Evil Twin Trouble Sunny anyway. Like, it's good. They don't target. They're insane. I think they're really good. I really like them. But yeah, anyway. 3 Evil Twin Trouble Sunny. Now, this card is what makes the deck, why it's so much better after Burst of Destiny. It's why there's a different build of the deck, but I think this is better, just because Trouble Sunny is insane. Now, what does Trouble Sunny do? As a quick effect, you contribute this card to special summon up to 1 Kill monster and up to 1 Lilla monster. You do not have to summon both. So if they DD Crow are called by one of them, then you can still summon the other one and then use their effect to summon the other one back. Same thing with Crow. Like, you still trigger their effect, and it's crazy. Then, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card to your graveyard as cost. and send one evil twin monster from your hand, deck, or field to the graveyard. That's the cost. So banishing and sending is cost. So the cost is already you can't what's it called bell, you can't ash, and you can't call by if they respond to it. Like if they do it as soon as it hits the graveyard, then fine. But anyway, uh then the effect that activates is send one card on the field to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Evil Twin Trouble Sunny per turn. So this is an out to most of your pesky little trouble cards or whatever. DPE, Mirror Jade, any card that can't be targeted, any card that can't be destroyed. Say Dragoon was still in the format. This was your out to Dragoon back when it was still a thing. Now, you can do this by sending either one of the twins to the graveyard, which are already on the field because of her effect, usually. So if you activate her effect on your turn, you can literally just activate this to send it, and they haven't activated their effect, so you can just bring it back and go into another one to send, and it brings both of them back at the same time. Now, if you don't want to do this, then that's fine. If you think they have like a graveyard interruption or whatever, which I think is going to be popular this format, so it does hurt this deck, but that's why you play Crossout, that's why you play Called by the Grave. But you can activate both of their effects at the turn because they're summoned simultaneous. Both of their effects at the same time, not of the turn. I don't know why I said that. But you can activate their effects at the same time because they were summoned simultaneously. So when they are summoned, the other one is on the field. Now, you can chain link these cards in a way where you protect the one that you want to go off. Now, why would you do this? Because, I don't know. Because it's just fun that way. I don't know. You can, but it's just what I do. I chain link them. Like if I don't want the draw, and I want this. Maybe they have something. Maybe they don't. But I just chain one and chain two, or chain one if you want the draw and two if you want the pop. Usually they can't do anything about the pop, but say they have Ghost Ogre or something. I just don't want to deal with that because usually most of the time you do want that summon back just for extension. So it's better to just chain link that way because it just is. I mean, I guess the same thing would happen, but that's just what I do. And another thing about this is that you can summon more of one of these per turn. So say you're in the battle phase. Say you have your 3,300 Trouble Sunny. Then you activate, you attack, then you activate the effect, you summon these two. Say you haven't activated their effects, you do their effects and attack with them. That's 500, 5,000 damage, and whatever cards you have on the field. Then you link them off for the second copy of Trouble Sunny, and then do it during their turn, which is just great. Now, let's go on to the next card. Next card, I think this card is really good in this deck specifically because your two main starters are Cyberse monsters. Now, they're not level 1, so you can't do Link Karibo, but this one is really good because it stops a trap. Now, why is that good? Because you can stop Evenly Matched and you can stop Imperm. Imperm and Evenly Matched are both cards that hurt this deck quite a bit because you have cards set on the field, because you have whatever, and if they have it set, then like a lot of the time after the battle phase, you have more cards than you have than one, and they'll make you get rid of them, and you can just stop that with Link Karibo, and it's something that you can make easily. A lot of the time, you can make it with like if you have a good hand, you can make Link Karibo, Dagda, and the Kissikill monster and the monsters afterwards, which is just great. So yeah, Link Karibo, really good. So let's go over what he does. So it requires one level 4 Cyberse monster to make. When your opponent activates a trap card, quick effect, you contribute this card, negate that of card's effect, and if you do, banish it. And if this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you contribute one add Ignister. That doesn't matter. The thing that matters is the trap card thing. Then we're playing the Zeus package. Why? Because I think it's really good. It's really good at clearing your opponent's board and then going into your combos if you have extension or if you just happen to have two live twins on the field, which happens sometimes because of summoning back stuff during your opponent's turn. It's good. It's a good card. And Zeus is just really powerful, and especially late in the game, if you don't have any more of the twins, you can still go into Zeus because you can still summon another twin, and then go into Centuria, attack, and then go into Downward, and then go into Zeus. So I'll go over all of these cards' effects. Sky Cavalry Centuria, his requirements are 2 level 4 monsters, cannot be destroyed by battle while it has Xyz material, which it most likely will have, and then at the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, return it to your opponent from the field to the hand. So, it's good for getting rid of stuff if you want your Zeus to be protected. Say you go in for the negate or like whatever. If they have an Appaloosa, you just boom, and then you activate the card, bounce it back. Then Downward, basically what this does, it stacks over. That's all it does. Her effect doesn't matter. And then Zeus is the main boy. So what he does, he has a big effect. Once per turn, if an Xyz monster battled this turn, also, you can also Xyz summon Divine Zeus Arsenal A Zeus Sky Thunder by using one Xyz monster you control as material. So that's just the Downward, because you attacked with Centuria. Then, as a quick effect, not once per chain, you can detach two materials from this card, send all other cards from the field to the graveyard. Once per turn, if another card is destroyed by battle or current card effect, you can attach one material from hand, deck, or extra deck to this card. So that doesn't really matter, but it matters sometimes, but it's like, whatever. But yeah, that's the Zeus thing. It's really good. It's just great. Now, I play Unicorn instead of Transcode Talker because I like the send back to deck, especially with a lot of cards, especially with the Flunderies cards. Just getting rid of stuff is more important than just going in for game. A lot of the time, you can set up enough interruption or enough stuff to stop your opponent from playing after you go in for game. Because one Unicorn at Trouble Sunny, because Trouble Sunny can summon out the other two. That's what's it called? 7,800 damage, and if you have the Live Twin Trap on the field, or Live Twin Spell on the field, then which most of the time you do, then they can't summon another monster. And at that point, what are they going to do? Like if they have Spell and Trap removal against Live Twins, I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, yeah. Then one day, so Unicorn, what this does is when it's summoned, you can discard a card to shuffle a card to target, shuffle a card your opponent controls back into deck, and then if it's co-linked, which you can do with the twins really easily, because you can summon them to an arrow that the twin points to, and he points sideways. So if he's co-linked, then you can draw a card, so it replaces the card that you did stuff with. So yeah, that's really good. Then one Dagda, what he does is when a card effect is activated on the field, so basically any card effect, you can set a artifact card from your deck to the Spawn Trap card zone. So it sets Scythe directly from your deck. If you open Scythe, then you don't need to go on this, and they won't expect it. So, but yeah, you can go into this off of any two monsters, which you can go into this off of... yeah, any two monsters. And then one Access Code Talker. I do like this card in the deck just specifically because you can go into him off of Unicorn if you used him, and most of the time you can do that without using your Twins effects and locking you into Fiends, so Access Code is just an easy way for OTK and to clear boards. Yeah, anyway, guys, that's the deck. We were here for a while, but yeah, hopefully this helped someone. Hopefully this helped you just get into Live Twin, sort of understand what the deck does. Sorry, I switched these from my hero deck. But hopefully this helps you understand what the deck does. I hope it helped someone. And if you guys want another Live Twin video, maybe explaining how to play the deck or whatever, like now post ban list and whatever, or showing how the deck maybe test hands and stuff, I can definitely show that. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you want, ring the notification bell for more videos. And I will see you guys later. I hope you have an amazing day.